Good afternoon, Jan.
Hi, Michael. How are you?
Doing well.
Doing well. This side also. Bit in a
Very good.
hurry today.
Oh, are you?
Um, yeah, to to get on the group by 3 o'clock. But I have to stop. But I cannot stay later than 4 o'clock exactly because I still have an appointment after this.
Okay.
So I'll have to hurry,
All right. Yeah.
change, and go off after that.
Okay. Yeah. Not a problem. We will keep it within the time box, which we
How
usually
was the
don't.
week?
But yeah.
How was the week? I
Yeah.
didn't
Very
put
busy week.
anything yet. I didn't put anything yet on GitHub, if I'm not wrong. I will,
Right. Yeah. I checked again this morning. Didn't see anything yet.
I
But
I will share my screen. Wait, let's make it a little bit smaller.
mm-hmm.
Is it readable like this?
Yes, it is.
Because I think I worked a little bit on it in the weekend. Don't remember which day already, but after that, that was it.
Mm-hmm.
And even this morning, I didn't get further than that. Um, let's see, because I even don't remember where I was. So I was cleaning
Okay.
up everything. So let's go through this together. Yeah, I didn't switch to another branch, so I still put it in SQL query.
Okay. That's good.
Did you put anything more on that branch or not?
No, I did not.
Okay, so it's not a problem. So um, yeah, I remember that you had in the solution, where was it here? SQL store test.
Mm-hmm.
I created a directory models so that every model I could put it in a separate file.
Yeah. I like that.
Um, I think it was called projects before directly under it. And we saw the same here. This is Jinaga test, but there they are mixed up a little bit because you
Mm.
have airline day booking. But on the other hand, you have, for example, corporate,
Yeah,
where
which
you
is all
have,
in one. Yeah.
yeah, you had DWS. So for the SQLite store,
mm-hmm.
I just put them all separate
Yeah.
in the
I like
same
that better.
the same namespace for the moment because they don't overlap. But if a model would have the same, if effect would have the same name as another one, we can always change the namespace.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I like that.
Um, don't know, or would you, just for example, the blog, I'm still in the namespace models.
Right. Yeah.
Would you
Yeah.
would you prefer to make it directly models.blog?
Um, I think so. I think, yeah, let's go ahead and preempt any collisions that might happen in the future. Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, I like that plan.
wait, let's first let's first the changes that I have now because I didn't commit them yet.
Oh, yeah.
I don't remember what I did. So let's um, wait. Let's go back here. So then I moved project to the model folder. I adapted the namespaces. I added the skyline model
mm-hmm.
because we were using that one as well. I split query test for the memory store and for the SQLite store. So now we have two query tests which can evolve separately
Mm.
if you want to. I
Yes.
extracted the block model and put it in a separate block.cs.
Mm-hmm.
Then I added a drop DB first feature to the drop database, to the database to make sure that we can drop the database before
Yeah.
starting a test. And actually, if I remember well, the way that I did that was I have my connection factory here. So if
Okay.
we go back to the SQLite store, the moment that you create a new SQLite store.
Okay.
Here I added the flag drop first. If you drop first, it will set the factory to null and it will delete the file. And otherwise it will just create a new connection factory. And when you create a connection factory, what it will do, enable the wall mode and create the DB.
Nice.
So if you say drop first, it will delete the file and it will start over again. And otherwise it will go through this creation, but create DB will only create the tables that don't exist.
Yeah, I like that.
Then where were we? Yeah, I moved the SQL store tests. They were still in Jinaga tests, so these were my old tests. I moved them over to the SQL store Lite test. These ones. This is all that old rubbish that I created a long time ago. That one I still have to clean up a little bit, but the tests are passing. And the last thing, yeah, I renamed that SQL store test to store test. I think to be consistent with what you did with the memory test.
Yeah, I think that makes sense because it's already inside of the SQLite assembly, so
Yes.
we know which store we're talking about.
Yeah, I don't remember where it was exactly, but all right. So that are the few things which I did. It was the 28th, so that was a long time ago. Right after our last meeting, I think. And then I still did a few things, but I don't remember what it was. So let's have a look. Okay, just cleaned up here. Then that model. Okay, I added that. I thought I already mentioned that. No. Oh no. Okay. So let's put that one first then. Where am I? No. Yeah. Added DVS model. Commit. Okay. What else did we do? This was that store test. Okay, cleaned up. Yeah.
Okay, yeah. You don't
Actually,
need the dependency on the Janaga test project now that you've got the models in the right
yeah.
place. Yeah.
But then in the attribute, I added, what was it? So what changed here? SQL store. Here.
Oh, okay.
Wait, this is my working tree. Don't know why this was there. Doesn't matter.
Yeah.
The same for Jinaga. Oh, that's one that I added here. So in Jinaga, because now I have to give, have to open it up to the SQLite store test and to Jinaga test.
Yeah.
This one existed already, but it was done here directly in the project file.
Oh. Okay. That's what that's deleting. Yeah, I see.
Yeah, internal visible to.
Yeah.
Because here, you can put it in several places.
Yeah.
And somewhere in your code, I discovered that you use this attribute.cs. I said, that's a nice way to put it. So I moved everything to that place.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah, I like that. That more consistent way of doing things. Yeah.
Yeah. And so here, okay, so let's just call it adapted internals visible to to make Jinaga visible for Jinaga dot test and SQLite dot test, and then up, all of them staged. So that's done. So now we have nothing left. Just let us check whether everything is still working. There's one thing. If I run all the tests at the same time, let's do that. Run. Then it will break because before I run the tests, it will delete the database. But he runs the different, like the query test and the query generated tests and the store tests. He runs them simultaneously. So if you go and have a look here, he says database is locked, so you cannot delete it. I'm sure there must exist something to make this sequential. But so if I say, okay, just run here all my query generated tests, that's fine. After that, I run all my query tests. Okay, Murphy is not home. Not yet. And this one takes a little bit of time. Remember, that was where we waited and run again, and for quite intensive tests to test concurrency.
Okay. Yeah, it looks like the way to accomplish that in XUnit is to create a collection. So you just put a collection attribute on all of those tests, and so if they're all in the same collection, then they will run sequentially.
Okay. So look, now simple. they all pass.
Very nice.
But so that means I have to put a collection attribute on every single test.
Not on each individual test, but on the 3 test classes.
Okay. So
yeah,
and that has to be here. It has to be there. I'm gonna write it down. I'm gonna try it out. And so collection attribute.
Yeah. And that takes a string that's the collection name, so if they all have the same collection name, then it should do the right thing.
Classes. All right. So actually, tests are all passing now. If you look to the solution, so yeah, let's close all this. So we now have the SQLite directory here, and we have the SQLite test project where we have okay, and I saw this usings also, that new feature.
Oh yes, yeah, global usings.
That's also nice. That you were using in the code. So now we have the store test. That's the new one, the query test, query generated tests, and all the models here. And if we look to the dependencies, it goes to Jinaga story SQL, and to unit test. Do we still need unit test? Yeah, for the simulated network, I think.
Okay. That might, that might not be necessary for the SQLite tests. Okay, yeah, you can look into what would happen if you remove that dependency.
It's in the projects here. Where is that thing? Oh, it's a project dependency. Why? Oh, here I have it. No, it's not there.
Hmm.
It was the unit. It's not a package. It's not, no.
Yeah. Hmm.
Wait, no, I'm wrong. I'm in the unit test here. I had to be here.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Okay, here.
There we go.
Sometimes it's easy. Rebuild. No errors. That's a
Okay.
good thing.
Yeah.
So in theory, everything should be fine.
Yeah. What could go wrong?
Let's run, then we are sure. That's the nice thing about having tests.
Yep.
We have the last one here. But so I didn't dive into Maui yet. I wanted to do that last night, but I decided it's better to sleep a little bit also.
Yeah. Yeah. I've not been looking at Maui myself yet either, but gonna have to do that here in the next week.
So this is final. Okay, up. So removed dependency on Jinaga dot, what was it? Unit tests?
Correct. Yes. Unit test.
Unit test. Okay. Did I? Yeah. So that's fine.
Yeah.
So now
Very nice.
he's pushing them to origin. Huh? He's not pushing them to you. Let's see that. Yeah, it's on origin. All right. Let me log into GitHub. GitHub, where is here? And now I'm on another screen.
Mm-hmm.
Am I logged in? Yeah, I'm logged in. That's fine. I go to jinaga.net. I go to the SQL. Which branch was it?
SQL query. Yes.
Yeah. 12 commits ahead of Jinaga. I say, normally I can push sync fork. He doesn't want. Okay, no problem. We can do it directly here.
Yeah.
Let's just open. Where is it here? Open folder. Then open the command prompt. Comments. Then git status, your branch is up to date with origin, and then I do git push dash dash all slash origin slash upstream.
Well, Origin is the name of your
That's
remote.
mine,
Yeah.
and
So
yours is upstream.
upstream. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. So push dash dash all to slash upstream.
Uh, yeah. Just yeah, with no slash on the upstream. I think it should just
No
push.
slash before.
Yeah. I don't think there's a slash.
Let's try. Let's
Yeah.
let's try. The world will not explode if it's wrong.
Yep.
Okay, counting, enumerating, delta compression. He rejected one thing. Oh yeah, I said, okay, I said all, so that means all the branches, not just the current, and he rejected on the main because there was no fast forward possible. But so that's not a
Okay.
problem.
Yeah. Well, now I do see.
If I refresh, yeah,
Yeah.
now my GitHub is up to date with your GitHub for the SQL query branch.
Very good. And I see.
And he pushed apparently SQLite branch and a build number branch and a replicator branch. Why?
That's all right. Yeah, you must have had those branches in your fork,
Yeah, but
and then pulled them locally.
these were branches from you from long ago,
Yeah,
which you
and
probably deleted.
I did a cleanup, but yeah, I'll delete them again. It's no big deal.
Okay,
Yeah.
so he pushes it's back then.
Yep.
Because if you delete it, yeah, actually it really gets, the pointers get deleted and the rest get garbage collected after some time.
Yeah. Most of those branches should just be previous commits on the main branch. Yeah, I don't think that there's that there are any that have new commits. But if they do have new commits, then even if they've already been garbage collected, it'll push those commits again and put that branch back where it was. But yeah, it's easy enough to clean up.
Oh, the world exploded almost. Next time I leave out the dash dash all.
Okay, but yeah, I've got the commits you did just now and the commits from earlier in the week. Looks good. So yeah, I will. Let's see. Did you have a little bit more cleanup that you wanted to do on this branch before I merge it in?
Merge it in, and I will restart from the main branch.
Okay.
I will make a new branch cleanup, so at least we can continue because this has nothing more to do with SQL query.
Yeah, it's true. Okay.
So I think you better merge it in, and then I will start a new branch.
Sounds good.
Because these tests of mine here, which was it, the store test? it's still very ugly. A lot of commented code and yeah. But at least it's working. That's the most important thing.
Indeed. Very nice. Yeah, thank you so much, sir.
No, thank you for doing all that, because I did just a little bit, and all the rest was your work.
You did all of the SQLite research and testing, and you dug into the library. Made sure that wall mode was working the way we wanted it to. You looked at the asynchronous versus synchronous behavior.
Yeah, but that was when I was young, a long time ago.
That was less than a year ago, but
I think it was more than a year ago with me. I don't dare to look back to the timing. Um, but now I think I'm gonna make a small Hello World try in Maui. So I looked up Visual Studio 2022 is still the latest version. I thought perhaps I'm behind, but no.
Nope.
Before installing all the packages for Maui and trying to find a little Hello World example and put Jinaga inside and try something fun. See how we can do that.
Yeah. Yeah, and last week I was trying to remember the name of that feature in .NET that has a bunch of runtime or build time dependencies, and they're called workloads. So so there is a Maui workload.
Okay.
Yeah, if you're installing Visual Studio, you can always return to the installer and then check the box next to mobile app development, and then that includes the Maui workload. But if you're on the command line, there's a command line a tool that that installs workloads, and you can just pick this one and it says, okay, getting all the stuff.
Okay, I will try that out. And once Hello World is is working, then we can try the serious things.
Very nice. Yeah, yeah, I'm looking forward to that. That is going to be nice. Okay.
It's always the same. It takes a little bit time to get used to a new environment, but once you're in it, it goes well.
Okay. Well, if
Did
you
you
want
change anything
to,
to the replicators?
I did. So yeah, if you want to stop sharing, then I can show you what I've got.
Stop streaming. Okay.
Okay. And so let's go to this one to start with. There we go. Okay. Let's see. Actually, that's not the place I wanted to start. Let's start with. Oh yeah. Let's start with dev.jinaga.com. Okay. So sign in. Agree. Okay. Here are my replicators. So I'm going to go to the Colab replicator. And so here I'll need to set up authentication, but I want to walk through authorization. So now, if you set up authorization, then it tells you that you can use this documentation in order to learn how to write authorization rules. Let's see if that documentation is deployed. Yes, it's there. Awesome. And then once you write the rules, then you can use these values in order to deploy them. Right now, we don't have a secret. So let's go ahead and generate a secret. What will happen here is that it will it'll automatically refresh and show the secret. But right now, it's not doing the automatic refresh thing. But yeah, the reason for that is that whole subscription or that subscribe endpoint in the client. The generation of the secret is happening on the back end, and so the back end has some work to do, and then it needs to publish a fact that the front end subscribes to. But once I add that subscribe, that will be just automatic and it'll show up. Now we've got an authorization endpoint and a secret. What do we do with those two things? So here's how we set up authorization. So you write some code in the client application, and that has all the authorization rules. So I'll expand this documentation so that I describe type, any, and no as the three methods, the three functions you use in this builder pattern here. Yeah. But yeah, we've seen authorization rules here, so don't think we need to dive into those in a lot of detail. And then you can compose them using with to get just one authorization function. Yeah. And then this is the code that you can copy and paste into your project if you're using Node. That you can use to deploy authorization rules. And there's nothing application specific about this code. This is just getting your authorization function from your model, also getting the model definition, and then calling describe authorization rules to get that string that we saw last week.
Yeah.
And then here, I just recently learned that Node 18 has the fetch function. So just like they simplified things in the browser, now they finally simplified things in Node. So yeah, you can use fetch in order to post to the URL that you pass in on the command line, and then add the bearer token that you pass in on the command line. And it'll tell you if you get a 201 that the rules have been updated. Otherwise, it tells you the error. So this is basically I was researching how to write the curl command in order to take the string that was generated by this file, because I just had console out this string before. But I said, you know what, I don't need to use curl. I have Node. So when you have Node, use Node. So yeah, I think we can do something similar in .NET. Just do a regular HTTP client kind of thing, and that code will live in your project, so you get to control how your pipeline works. But all we need to do is post some rules to an endpoint with a bearer token, and they will get applied to your replicator. So there's the script to run it, and there is how you run the script. So as an application developer, you can just save that, including your endpoint and your authorization, your secret, in a bash script. Keep that out of your repository and just run that. Or you could choose to create environment variables locally, and then use the environment variables in the script. You might even, if you standardize on environment variables, you might even just load the environment variables right here. Process.env instead of argv. Yeah. So yeah, completely up to you. This is your code to work with. On the CI/CD server, then you store them in build parameters. Keep them secret, keep them safe. So.
Okay, that's an easy way to get these rules uploaded to the server.
Yep. Yep. And so I've got all that working in Colab. So I actually just copied the code straight out of Colab and pasted it up there. So here are the authorization rules. And in fact, last week we refactored, moved all the authorization rules into the model index file. So we've got the authorization rules defined per section of the application. So for these three facts, these are the rules. And then we compose them, and then we upload them. And so there's the script to deploy authorization that builds and then runs. So we saw that script last week, and the cat's gonna roll some D&D dice. Okay. So if I npm run deploy authorization, And then it does that. It does builds, runs, and then it fails. Oh, that's because I didn't pass in the command line parameters, of course. So maybe I'll add some error checking, but then that means that I'm adding that error checking to code that you have to copy and paste. Yeah, that's still worth it. So let's go back here and copy the endpoint. There's the endpoint. And now I'm going to dox this replicator. So copy the secret. No, there's the secret. Oh my goodness. All right. And now we actually do the deploy, and the authorization rules have been updated. So that means that that now the replicator has those authorization rules, and it's loading them in when it receives a request. So it just hits the database, checks to see are there new authorization rules. If so, load them in, and then run the request from there. So I've not yet done this part of the testing, where I come up here and then do a write in order to check to see if it's actually applying the authorization rules. But yeah, so far, yeah, there's no reason it shouldn't, but I actually haven't seen it work yet. So, but yeah, so this is what the post looked like. So it went up to the authorization endpoint. Just uploaded those authorization rules, and it used that token as a bearer token to authenticate. Okay, so this would be kind of interesting to see if we can prove that this is working. So one thing that I can do is, let's come back here, copy this, and paste that in. So now we've got the correct endpoint, and then in authorization, let's copy this secret and paste that in here. And then in the body, I will clear out all of the authorization rules. So now we have our 201. We have saved the authorization rules, which are now empty, to this replicator. So so now this replicator should not authorize any new facts. Now, in order to have it actually run the authorization rules, we need to authenticate. So let's quickly run through the authentication. So we will have this be QED code / r.collab. And so yeah, the service description I'm choosing now is your Colab account, which is kind of weird when you look at it here, but then when it is used in context, it makes a lot of sense. So let's get the team ID, go to Apple Developer, and get logged in there. So now I've got the team ID. That's in. Register an app ID, Colab, and QED code.colab. So we'll go back to, well, let's use the cheat link here, identifiers. Okay. Add app ID. It's an app. And then we've got Colab. and qtcode.com. Okay, and then we choose somewhere down here, sign in with Apple, and continue. And then register. Yep. Okay. Now we register a service. So go through the same thing here, but we don't need to pick it there. Service IDs. Here's the service description, your Colab account. And the identifier is collab.auth. Continue there. And then you have to register it, and then you can come back and enable sign in with Apple. And there you hit configure and pass in these two things. So here's our domains and subdomains, repdev, janaka.com. And here is our return URL. Auth Apple callback. Okay, we're done. Continue, save. Lots of buttons to hit. Okay.
It's a whole procedure.
Yep, and this is, I think I could actually get this a little bit better, but in order to do that, I would have to call the API and basically walk through all these steps in code, and then I would need the application developer to give me permission to do that. And when I could give you instructions to do that yourself, my personal choice would be to give me the instructions. I want to see what's happening. I think most developers are like that as well, but and so that's why I haven't gone down that path. So sign in with Apple, boom, configure that, and yeah, so we have to choose the primary app ID, and that should be Colab, and then we save it and continue and register, and now we have a key. So there's the key. So we put that key in there, and then finally we download the file. So we've got auth key in our downloads folder. Choose that file and go to downloads, and there's the auth key. Okay, it uploads it. The first time that it hits key vault, it has to do a whole bunch of stuff. But then this seems to be like a 26-second process on every new deployment. But then once that process is done, then it's going to be fast for the next person. So that's uploaded. So next. All right. So now after the user is successfully called in or logged in, then the provider will redirect. So you provide your own callback URL for your application now. So all the Apple stuff is done, and this is for your application. So let's do localhost 8080 auth callback. Okay, so now we've got Authenticate with Apple all set up. We've cleared out our authorization rules for this thing. So let's come into to Postman and set up the OAuth 2.0 authorization code with Pixie, and put in all of these parameters. So we've got the callback URL, we've got the auth URL, access token URL, the client ID, no client secret, and automatically generate the code verifier. The scope, I need to update this this documentation here, but it should be profile, read, and write. The 3 scopes that we're looking for. Right, and then we need to pass in a random state parameter. Okay, so save that, get the access token, and let's see if it's going to log in with Apple. And if so, then we can actually test the authorization part. Yeah, I thought that it would be faster for this. I thought that this was actually the key vault thing. But yeah, it's still taking a while to do that. Okay, so let's do my Apple login and make sure that I can grab the key. Okay, imperialmailersoft.com, password. All right, paste that in. And here, hide my email. I don't want these yahoos knowing my stuff. Okay, so
Apple gives you the choice.
Yep, just the very first time when you set things up, which, oops, that was, there we go, that came back. All right, so, yeah, we've got an access token. Let's use that token. Okay. And now let's try to write some facts to the replicator. We should not be able to do so because we have authorization completely turned off right now. So let's start with, let's just do, yeah, let's do a project. So I want to create a project. I should not be able to do so. So I will have a collab project, and the creator will be the user, and we will come up with a GUID. So come in here. Yeah, I could also test this in code, but that would be setting up a whole user interface and all that stuff. The reason that we have the right endpoint is so that we can do all this in Postman. Okay, so let's get back here, and we've got our URL, so put that in there, slash right. So we're going to post to that. We're going to inherit the authorization, so that's going to have the token that we just generated. And then we are going to have the body be raw text. And this is going to start with the let's user being a janaga.user be equal to me. That way it's got the logged in user. And then we can let the project being a collab.project be equal to creator is the user. And then GUID is equal to a string. Let's see if I've got the GUID generator. it's not actually parsing it as a GUID. It just needs to be a unique string, so it's a GUID. Just trust me. Okay, so with those things, it should try to create these facts. The Janaga user should be okay. Maybe? We'll see. But then the project should definitely fail. So let's try that. Post. And should be trying to run the... There we go. Yes, perfect. I love it. I love it. Something actually worked the first time I tested it on the stream.
Mm-hmm. Murphy is clearly not home today.
Nice. Okay, so it rejected the Colab project, but it accepted the Janaga user. So now let's deploy using the actual code here. Authorization rules have been updated, and now close. Okay. All right. Good. Something didn't work to completion. Okay. Yeah. So we've got some error with the database. Tenant ID non-null. Okay. So I'm trying to do. Yeah. I'm not even sure what I'm trying to insert there. But okay. We can at least see that it has some effect on the authorization rules. So I think it got past the that authorization check and got on to the next error. And sometimes progress is just seeing another error message.
The next error message.
Mm-hmm. All right. But that is the process of uploading authorization rules. So get that fixed, do the same thing for distribution rules, and have a similar process for Janaga.net, and then people will be able to use these replicators.
Yeah, but in fact, to send it from Janaga.net should not be too difficult.
Yeah, it should be pretty similar.
Okay, and then everything is ready for production.
Yep.
Almost.
Yep, indeed.
Great. That's progress.
Nice. Yes. All right. Well, I will let you get to your next thing.
Yeah. Because otherwise, I will have to run.
Yeah. Okay. And next week we'll try out Maui. See what that looks like.
Let's try to have the two and Hello World example.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sounds good.
Michael, thank you very much, and see you next week.
Thanks, Ed.